What's going on? This is City Chapters Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby J. Today's chapter is with Melissa McQueen. Melissa, aka Melly Mel, that's my nickname for her, is a holistic esthetician and an acne specialist. She is the owner of Azurite Aesthetics, which offers a holistic whole body approach to skincare. What's going on, Melissa?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's hot 70 weather out there.
You calling me out of my turtleneck again?
We getting in the snowboard season. We got to prepare. Backstory, me and you have known each other for quite a while now.
A really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are quite frequently snowboarding together, and you're upset at me right now because I might not get a pass at 49 Silver. So
Feel abandoned. Definitely.
We're working through it.
I know.
We're working through this part. Q, me, her, my brother. So
I know. We might be breaking up.
we might be breaking up. Let's get into why you're here. You're here to talk about your business. So tell us about why you started Azurite Aesthetics.
So Azurite Aesthetics and my whole program, which is being a holistic esthetician that works with acne, that would be like my niche within my business. Started because I suffered from acne myself. So I had acne for probably the first 15 years of my life. How in depth do you want me to go in this?
As deep as you want to go, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first 15 years of my life, and that was treated with birth control, lots of different antibiotics. I never did Accutane because my mom drew the line at Accutane and was like, yeah, that's definitely like not something we're doing because the side effects are so severe. Mm-hmm. So to give like a timeline, that started when I was probably like 14, 15, and it was pretty extreme. Like my whole face, my whole upper body, back, chest, everything. And birth control was the first thing that my doctors put me on. Like they were like, hey, like this is a hormone disorder. The only thing that's going to help you, birth control. And then they said, hey, that's not working. So we're going to have you on birth control and we're going to put you on doxycycline, which is a pretty hardcore antibiotic. Long-term use for doxycycline is considered anywhere from like 2 weeks to 2 months. And I was on it for 4 years. And my doctors didn't really like see anything wrong with that or explore any other option. They were like, hey, like your acne is staying under control. This is where you're going to live. So fast forward to 2020. That's when I was like on the doxycycline. I got really sick. So I ended up in the hospital with a bunch of ulcers in my stomach and my hair was falling out. And the ER doctor was like, hey, like you keep taking this stuff, like this is going to kill you. Like this is like not okay. And there's like nothing that you can really do with that because they didn't necessarily like malpractice at all. Like I was prescribed something. They kept prescribing it. I was picking it up from a pharmacy. I was taking it. So I had to get off of the antibiotic at that point, and then my acne came back worse than I had ever had it before, which was like absolutely devastating. So then I did like a full deep dive. Like we got locked into our houses, COVID hit. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like I have to fix this. And that's just kind of like my mentality. Like when I commit to something, I like overcommit like to the extreme. So I was like, I'm going to fix my acne. What does that look like? Seeing naturopath doctors, taking vitamins and supplements, lots of meditation, lots of exercise, whole body approach stuff within myself. And then when that was like starting to work, I was like, wait, I could like do something with this. Like I could make a career out of this. And I like literally one day just looked at my husband and was like, I'm going to aesthetic school. And he was like, okay. I signed up and I started like 2 weeks later. And then went through the program and then immediately graduated the program and started working for myself.
Nice.
Yeah. There's like a lot more in there too. But yeah, that's kind of like where all of the ideas behind what I do come from is because acne is not a like treatable condition. Like it's not something that can be 100% cured. It can only be maintained. So you can like go in and do the things that'll get you to like a healthy place, but you have to maintain that. And I think that like our Western medicine kind of prescribes and sells it as like, hey, like here's the cure and you'll be fine. But that's like not how it necessarily works.
So you said there's no cure for it.
No, there isn't. No. Acne is like Depending on why you have acne, right? So if you have it because you're eating incorrectly and your body's out of whack and you need to do some healing, like then you could heal the acne, right? But there's like a genetic component to it too. So a
predisposed.
Yeah. Yeah. So your skin cells shed faster, or you genetically, like you just don't fluff off skin the way that you should, things like that. Kind of like if your mom had acne, your dad had acne, you're probably going to have acne. Just like if your mom and dad are tall, however that like square works, Punnett square.
Okay.
Yeah. It can be like passed down that way. Yeah. So, what I do with my business is I look at it from like a whole body approach, and then like how are we going to like heal this and keep it under wraps. But it's never going to be like fully something that goes away from most people, but it has to be maintained. Yeah.
So does the business involve more than just direct skincare as far as the advice that or the guidance that you give your clients?
Totally. It's like full spectrum. So from the top to the bottom, I would say skincare is like what most people come to me for. And so that's something that most people leave with. But then most people also leave with like supplement recommendations, lots of like diet and holistic recommendations in that department, because there is a component of acne that is like what you eat. And then like more than what you eat, like, okay, like, you know, the saying like you are what you eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. More than like what you're like physically consuming in your mouth, you're like what you eat, like what the things you're consuming, the literature you're reading, the environment around you, the chemicals you're exposing yourself to, the people you're surrounding yourself with. So it's like kind of giving them like a broad spectrum of like how can we improve different areas of your life to heal what's going on inside of you, because most of the time it's like an internal thing, something's out of whack. And then like household products. So I get down to like the soap that you're using in your dishwasher. Like I get down to like what you're putting in your laundry machine, the hair care products you're using, everything.
Yeah. No, I feel it because it's a lot. And
I was gonna say that was just a lot. Like
no. It's a lot in the way that like those things that you're talking about are things that I think about and how I try to treat myself and the products that I use. Like I try to use all natural products, whether that's a window cleaning product to like what I use to wash my clothes is like, I like this scent Alpine from 7th generation. It's supposed to be all natural, you know. It's
not acne safe.
But for me, I don't have acne problems. But at least like I'm on the tip of using non-chemical based products. So shampoo, body wash, like all that kind of stuff. I don't use any chemical based products. So
and actually I'll send you some recommendations. But 7 Generations is a greenwashed company.
I bet.
Am I allowed to like say that? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But at least it's better than just straight.
Yeah, your Tide or whatever. One of the like main things when I'm like detoxing people or like helping them like detox their body is fully getting rid of fragrance, SLS, which is sodium lauryl sulfate, which is what's going to be like in your 7 Generations. Things like that are just like toxin overload. They're bogging their body down. Their liver's not processing it out correctly, and then it's coming out their skin. So that's kind of like the way that I like look at acne is like it's your body being like, hey, like something's up, something's wrong, like pay attention, like let's heal this.
What are some brands you recommend since we're on the topic?
So Truly Free, which you have to order online. That's what I use pretty much like in my house up and down, from like window cleaner to bathroom cleaner, everything. So there's still like chemicals in them, like you need things to disinfect, but they're not harmful chemicals. They're not ones that penetrate like your body and cause harm. Okay. I mean, you could literally like spray them in your mouth and like it's not gonna. Don't do that. But
you could.
You could. Yeah. And then I use drops for laundry detergent.
Drops. Okay.
Yeah, you have to get them both online, but they're also environmentally friendly. Yeah.
That's important.
It's important.
Yeah. Cool. So there you go, people. You got 2 good brands to use if you're looking to switch it up. Cleanse your body, cleanse your house. cleanse your soul. So what does the name Azurite mean, and why did you choose that as the name of your business?
So when I was in my own healing journey, I kind of clung to gemstones, minerals, rocks, stuff like that. I've always liked them my whole life, but that was kind of like something that, like, I guess gave me the tiniest bit of direction in terms of like something like tangible and feasible that I could hold and be like, hey, like this is something that helps, you know? Does that make sense? So azurite is, I think, technically a mineral, but falls in like the gemstone family. And it's a stone. It's a heavenly stone, a stone of becomings. It helps you become your best self. It's supposed to help heal your body. And that was just kind of like my rock at the time.
Yeah. It's a cool name.
Yeah.
I like Azurite, the name. I like the color. Melly Mel was so gracious as to gift me a piece of Azurite right here when she came today. And yeah, I'm powering up right now. You know what I'm saying?
Healing,
Charging up.
Healing? Yeah.
We got it hanging out right here to guide us through this podcast. So, is it like that made sense of like kind of what that stone does of becoming is like helping you become your best self through your practice?
Through healing though.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to promote full body healing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And it rhymed with aesthetics.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
It just sounds good.
Uh-huh.
And then, you know, yeah, it's got the holistic tie in with it being a gemstone. So
Third eye stone. It's supposed to help you
yeah.
with your clairvoyance and like seeing where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to be, how to get there.
I'm going to put this right with my collection of other gemstones I got. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you feel that you found your purpose in being a holistic esthetician?
Yeah.
What did that look like when it kind of was unveiled to you? I mean, you said you were going through your own kind of acne crisis in a way, right? And your health started deteriorating and all that. And then you found some solutions for yourself through some natural means. And was it that epiphany was like, it just was very clear to you, like, this is what I'm supposed to do? Or how did that kind of...
So to be clear, I went to school, like, first and foremost to help myself. Like, I was like, if anything else, like, I can help fix this for myself. Like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm tired of looking like this. In my own, you know, personal opinion, it was, like, deteriorating, like, my self-confidence. So, yeah, I went to school because I was like, if at the end of this, I don't even, like, I come out with a license, maybe I'll work in this, maybe I won't work in this, but I want to help myself. And then when I started to help myself, it was like, because my acne was so bad, it was so noticeable to the people around me. Like, they were like, what are you doing? And then that kind of became like, let me help you here. Like, let me help you here. Let me help you here. And then when I graduated, the spot that I ended up in, it fully like fell into my lap. The guy
like where you're practicing out of?
Yeah. The guy who owns the building, a friend of mine also works in the building, and she reached out to me and she's like, hey, you're in school, right? Like, do you need a place to rent when you get out? And I was like, potentially. So I went and I toured and I talked to him, and I was like, well, I don't graduate for 3 months. I'm not gonna have my license. Like, if it's available, I'll take it when I come back. And he reached out to me like that same day and was like, I really like you. Like, I'm gonna hold it if you want to work here. So then that put like the fire into my butt. Like, I was like, oh, I gotta get my license. I need to get insurance. Like, I need to get all of these things. And at the time I was bartending, so I would bartend at night and work at my business during the day. And it was like, okay, like, this is something I really want to do at this point. So I think I got sidetracked from your question, but.
Well, yeah, just, you know, finding your purpose and being a holistic. So, like, you know, just kind of where did that all begin, and how did that revelation come to you?
Yeah.
So,
So, I'm just going to hop right back in where I left off then. So I was bartending at night, working during the day, and my business, that's when it kind of like started to become a business. I just had a lot of like people reaching out to me, or like I would post things online on Instagram and stuff like that, and then draw people in that way.
When you were telling us about why you started Azurite Aesthetics, you were mentioning that it was really based in your own personal journey.
Yeah.
So let's dive further into your personal journey, why you went to school. Did that have anything to do with healing yourself? What did that look like? And what was the purpose of you really starting down that road in a more educational seeking standpoint?
Okay. So my own personal healing journey started back, like I was saying, back in 2020 when I had come off of antibiotics, birth control, all of the things that they were saying were like helping my acne or keeping it healed or contained. And then at that point in time too, like I was partying too much. I was drinking a lot. And I was like filling myself with like negative outer things. Like the TV I was watching was all, reality TV garbage. The books I was reading were all like murder mystery books, which are still good, by the way. I still like both those things. But, and then the food that I was eating, I was eating like what I thought was healthy, because I was at that point in time like working out a lot, but I was counting like macros and like doing that kind of sort of thing instead of like looking at ingredients. And then I was over consuming basically. Like I was like the typical, in my eyes, like the typical American, like over consuming all of the things that like weren't healing me, weren't benefiting me, were like getting me farther and farther and farther and farther away from like who I was and like myself. So, COVID was probably like the best thing that's ever happened to me. And my relationship, honestly. We got locked down and put in our houses. We were both bartenders at the time, so we kind of like had to go inward and work on our home, like who we were, what we were doing, who we wanted to be, how we were going to get there. And so that started with when I was hospitalized, and then learning that I had to heal my gut, and then I had to heal my hormones, and then I had to heal myself. So I started working with naturopath doctors, doing that sort of thing. I completely quit drinking. And then I got down to like the nitty gritty with nutrition, which was not counting like what I was eating at all and doing any of that. But I like didn't eat anything if it had more than one ingredient. So like we would cook at home, like we were only using like fruits and vegetables, meat. If we were like making like orange chicken, like we literally like squeezing oranges to like make the sauce for the orange chicken. Yeah. Like very paleo. Yeah. Holistic. In that sense. And then that's when I like started to like heal internally a little bit. And then my next step was like detoxing my life. So I detoxed like all of the chemicals that I was using. I did an overhaul of my home. We got rid of anything with fragrance, anything with a harsh chemical in it. We brought in all good products, chemicals, skincare, hair care products. Q was 100% on board. Q's my husband. I think because he knew I would detox him next. He's like, all right, I'm on board. We're doing this. Yeah. So then when I started to feel better. I started to like be better. I started paying attention to like the things that I was consuming in terms of like social media, the internet, the books I was reading, the whole like you are what you eat in terms of like I was saying before, like in terms of everything that comes into your body that penetrates you as a person. Just making sure that those were things that I aligned with, and then staying in that alignment. And then that's when I signed up for aesthetic school. So
how did you know that you needed to detox all of these different things in your life? Where did that come from? Was that an internal guidance that you felt you needed to do?
Yeah.
Or because like a lot of people, they don't really know even where to start sometimes, or
a lot of meditation, a lot of like sitting with myself and like realizing that like in that moment in time, like that 2020 version of myself was like not the highest version of myself at all. In fact, she was like a person that I didn't even want to hang out with. Like I was like not not doing the things that benefited my life, benefited the people around me. I wasn't a bad person.
No.
Like when I would go out and drink, like I wasn't like fighting people or like making a problem. Like people would always be like, oh my gosh, you're so much, you know, it was fun.
Yeah.
But then I would wake up the next day and I would be further and further and further away from like that person that I wanted to be. And then I actually like went down and took a meditation course in Missoula, did like some like Reiki, like sound bowl healing, like a full retreat.
Oh yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah, and the meditations that we did were like super connecting to like the previous versions of yourself, and then the version you are, and then the version of yourself that you wanted to be. And like, what does that person look like? The person that you want to be. Like, what does her skin feel like? What does she smell like? What are the things she likes to do? Like picturing you from your head to your toe, like who you want to be, and trying to get there, right? Like, what are the steps you're going to take to like get to that version of yourself, the version of yourself that does good things for other people, the version of yourself that does good things for herself, the version of yourself that like who you're proud of, and like the version of yourself like you want to sit in a room with. And like that's something I do almost every day. Like I wake up and I'm like, okay, like if that's not who I am in the second, like how can I get to like that version of me like by the end of the day? You know? So
yeah, beautifully spoken. So I am curious more about your acne in itself and like that experience for you. Obviously that's a problem that I don't know how many people face like serious acne.
it's like an insane amount of people, like 75% of like the American population.
Yeah,
I
know
kind
it's
of just
high.
like came to that number, but I know
Yeah.
it's really high.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I mean enough, right? And
Yeah.
and it's something that's very hard to deal with.
I mean, it keeps me in business.
Yeah, it keeps you in business,
Yeah.
right? But in your personal journey, what do you think was the core cause of your acne, and like how
Yeah.
you cured it? Like, was it genetics? Was it just kind of take us through that.
I think it was a lot of different things. So it's starting so young for me. I think that it was like there was a genetic component to it. And then
When did it start for you again?
probably like 14.
14, yeah, okay,
So I'm
right
29
around
now.
puberty, yeah.
Yeah. So about like
Gotcha.
literally 15 years of
Yeah.
my life I've been like doing this.
Yeah.
So it started when I was about 14, and that would be like probably a genetic component. And then not knowing like what to use on my skin. That I grew up in like the Panaxol. What's that one that everybody uses?
Cetaphil.
No.
what
Oh
was-
my gosh, everybody used it. Anyway, the products were really damaging to the skin barrier. So like the problem just started to kind of like spiral. And then from there, the components that I got from doctors definitely, I think, made my acne what it was, the monster that it like became.
Yeah.
Because it threw me so far out of whack. So then I had like a gut health component to it. I had a consumption component to it, like drinking and stuff through my 20s. Alcohol is really bad for lots of things, you know, everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know if I answered your question correctly, but
Well, I guess I was trying to dig more into like,
what
you
do
know,
I think
like
caused it?
how did you identify the cause, but also like how it affected you as a person?
So not one, there was for me specifically, like there wasn't one cause.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't one product I was going to put on my face, or I can get rid of this one food, or I can, that truly like healed me. It was all of the things that I was
It's a
doing.
whole-
Yeah. Like I cut my
whole
whole,
spectrum.
the whole thing off at the knees.
Yeah.
Like I was like, all right, I overcommitted. I really committed. I went to school and made a career out of committing to this.
Yeah.
So it was all of the things. And then as far as like how the acne affected me and like drove me into this, I think like from a really young age, having something that was like, I guess soul crushing in a way. Like it was very, you know, it's your face. Like people are like, oh, your looks don't matter. Like, or you don't need to look or be a certain way. Like everybody's beautiful. Everybody is beautiful. But when you're looking in the mirror every day and you're seeing the acne and you're kind of identifying as a person with acne, that takes like your self-confidence and kind of like spirals it, right?
Yeah.
Because people would look at me and I felt like that's what they were seeing. They were seeing the acne, they weren't seeing the person. And like I would have like random people come up and like I'd be in like a bathroom and someone would be like, I just want to help. Like, have you tried? And I'm like,
yeah, so they'd be giving you advice all the time.
Yeah, unsolicited. Don't give unsolicited advice. Yeah.
That's great advice. Never give unsolicited. Yeah.
No. One time someone told me, I don't know if I heard where I heard this, but if they can't fix it within 15 seconds or 10 seconds or right away, like don't say anything negatively about someone's appearance. Yeah. So if it's like they have something in their teeth, say it. Yeah. If you don't like their haircut, keep your mouth shut.
Right. That's not for you to say.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't spread what you're trying to, like, you think you're doing. You think you're helping, but it doesn't. Like, that just takes that person's day and ruins it. So, but yeah, so I think, like, identifying as, like, somebody who had acne really at a young age, like, kind of, I don't want to say destroyed, but kind of my self-confidence.
That's where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to that deep part of how hard it must have been to have it and how that affected you and how you felt about yourself and how that has led you to where you are now, where you cured yourself, right? And that's major. And being able to take that knowledge now onto others and help them cure because like I said, it's gotta be I never really had bad acne ever, I don't think, that I recall. And definitely have had some things, but nothing very intense, right? And so I can only imagine how that kind of destroys a person's confidence when their acne is everywhere, right?
It becomes a personality trait. And it becomes something that you identify with.
People are like looking at you different, or people are, that's hard.
And I don't want to like put that out there like it's such a negative thing. Like I don't want anybody to listen to this podcast and be like, oh, I have acne, like I'm ugly or something. Like that's not what I'm saying.
Right. That's not what I'm saying either.
But for me, like it was something that in myself, I looked in the mirror and I wasn't proud of. Like I would be like, oh my gosh, like I have to fix this. Like I have to do something about this. Like this isn't the way that I personally want to look. Same reason people go to the gym. It's just the way that they want to look a certain way, or they buy a certain type of clothing, you know? But this is like something that's a lot harder to just like jump to. Like you're not just like, okay, well I don't want to have acne, so I don't have acne anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's beautiful that you were able to figure out a way to heal yourself and like, from the holistic standpoint and different ways of thinking that are based in holistic thinking is like Mother Earth provides everything to heal yourself. Yeah. Like you hear that. Yeah. But our culture, society has been heavily reliant on pharmaceuticals to try to cure us. I think more and more the knowledge is out there that is not gonna work. It's more harmful, but I would still say that is the prevalent way that people try to find curing or medication, right? The quick fix. Or they're just, relying on what their doctor, our normal doctors are gonna tell us. But there's other individuals that I know in my life that they believe 100% in that foods can heal you, like real foods. Like my homie Steven that runs Castle's Juice Co., he's very into holistic healing, and he does cold pressed juice, which he's like, that alone can heal you if you just consume
agree with that too.
Cold pressed juice.
Part of it,
So it's cool that you went through the trenches, and it was killing you, literally like
killing me,
killing you, and then you made a major pivot in your life, and look at you now.
Thank you.
You're glowing. You're shining.
Yeah, during that point in time in my life, I like clung to the mantra, longevity over instant gratification, and I would like any decision I make, I would be like, is this longevity or is this instant gratification? And if it was instant gratification, like, is it going to hurt me? okay, no, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to do that. And like, I was like that, like you have to be, if you're going to truly like heal yourself internally, you have to be, in my opinion, like that committed. And like that being said, like I don't require this of like people that I work with, you know, like the teenagers and stuff that I work with. Like it's definitely, I'm not like, okay, so you're not allowed to go have a pizza party and you're not allowed to like go swimming, or you know what I mean? Certain things that like I would think would like maybe flare up their acne, right? I let them like still be kids and be teenagers, but I tell them all the time, I'm like, you're so lucky that you have acne right now, because in the future, the longevity of this, like you're going to be a healthier person because you had this acne. Because we're making the decisions now that are going to benefit you in the future, because you had this part of you that scream out for help that now we're paying attention to. And now you get to go into the rest of your life, like making, if you choose to, like better decisions for yourself, because you have the knowledge to do that now.
Yeah.
Versus like just putting a Band-Aid on it, Accutane, this, that, you know? So I think it's like important to look at acne as like, it sucks and we don't want it, but like it's a blessing in disguise, because it tells you that something's like off in your body, whether that's like the genetic thing that we need to work on, which is like the easiest part of it actually, which is just going to be like getting into like the better skincare and stuff like that, like helping your skin exfoliate, or if it's like an internal imbalance with a vitamin and mineral, or if it's something that you're eating that we need to like detox from, you know, or the products that you're putting on and in and that kind of thing. So it's important to, I think, because now I'm giving these young adults, like my clientele is mainly like 13 through like 30, giving them like these nuggets of like health, you know?
Yeah.
Because they had the acne that made them seek out the knowledge, you know?
It's almost like somewhat like a coaching
That's
business,
100% what I do.
You know? Yeah. Because you do actually do like skin care.
And facials, yeah.
Facials, right? But then the other, sounds like probably one of the more major components is like
health
coach.
Yeah.
And coaching them through all of that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that depth of your business.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like, oh, you come in, do facials, you get help with acne that way. But you have the whole other side, which it sounds like it's almost like
the more important side,
the bigger side of the business. Yeah.
And it's cool too, because I feel like I get to like meet people in like a dark corner, kind of like they come in and they're like divulging like something so personal and so like heart-wrenching maybe to them, and then I get to like help them through that. Like it's like the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my whole life is like helping like these kids. Like they come in and like when I first meet them, they're like not making eye contact, like they're like really like, oh, I don't, you know, like they're nervous and stuff. And then as their skin heals and their friends start to notice and this and that starts to happen, like they're hopping up on my table being like, I had one kid that was like, yeah, I gave my Halloween candy to my younger brother because I am not breaking out. And I was just like, I love that, you know, not that they can't, but like, you know, they choose these like different ways of living, and then it instills more self-confidence.
Well, you get
them.
to see the get to help the transformation, right? Along, and that's what's more beautiful than seeing someone find their own beauty again, right?
Well, and then it's so
major.
fun too, because if I'm doing my job correctly, like they leave me, you know, and it's fun to like see that, like
last meeting,
I'm like, oh, like you don't technically need to come anymore, and some of them are like, no, I'm gonna still come, and then some of them are like, okay, like I'll reach out if I need anything, and then you know they still buy skincare through me, and we keep them like on a regimen, and like I still keep in contact with like 95% of them, but they don't have to like come in clinic anymore and like get things done. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah,
I mean that's gotta be, like you said, one of the most rewarding parts of what you do, right? I mean that's I you know, like Annalise has been on the podcast before, and I know that she's really renowned for her work, right?
She really is, yeah.
And you know, she gave me one of her treatments, and you know, like I came out of there, went next door to Black Label, and like the guys over there, like, bro, like, why are you glowing right now? I was like, yo, Glowco next door. I was like, you gonna get your shine on and go see her. But
I think a lot of what me and Annalisa do are like the same ideas. And I think that that's like the idea behind aesthetics. Like I love that aesthetics is stepping, I think, a little bit out of like just the beauty world and into like the holistic world.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I don't know how to say this without sounding, I'm going to say it in the way that I think it's very important that aesthetics or estheticians, right? Aesthetics in the beauty world does step outside of that, and that it's more centered around health.
Totally.
And like you not needing any other products other than taking care of your skin and letting your true self glow, let your true self shine.
Yeah.
I think that's very important for culture as a whole, but I think personally, I think it's really important for women to like be able to rely on their own self beauty instead of wearing masks. Now, hate it or love it, but that's just how I see it.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, like obviously makeup in itself can cause a lot of problems with your skin.
Totally.
So
yeah.
I think like what you're doing and actually healing at the core to where people can feel beautiful as who they really are is what we really need in our society. You know, like the more that all of us all around, men, women, and wherever you are in between, like can start just, you know, like feeling comfortable with who you are without using like disguises, right?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you coming on this podcast and giving this kind of information, this backstory of you, who you are, what you've been through to get to this place is like, that's like very powerful and beautiful, you know. Which I want to go back to you going to school.
Yeah.
So tell us why you decided to go to school, because we were talking off camera. It wasn't with the idea that you were going to go into business necessarily doing this.
No. Yeah, no. So I originally went into school to help myself. I was on the healing journey which was for me, one, like my whole gut, my hormones, everything like that. But because I had this like big thing going on, which was my acne. And I wanted to like step into like how I could get there for myself the quickest way. I had been seeing other estheticians. None of them were bad. They were all great. It just wasn't working for me. I had been seeing doctors. That wasn't working for me. So at this point I was like, okay, well, I'm committed. Like I need to like find what works for me. And that's going to be me getting the education to heal myself. So I went to aesthetic school and I went into it fully like with the mindset of like, I'm doing this to get the education and the knowledge and the access to like machines and things that I felt like could help me. And if this like develops into a business, like that's great. But that wasn't like my number one goal. Like I literally one day was sitting at home and I looked at my husband and was like, I'm going to sign up for aesthetic school. Like it had never left my mouth before. It had never been an idea before. And that night I signed up and I started a couple weeks later.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
It was just the
commitment. Just like all of a sudden, boom, I'm going to do this, signed up, it's done deal. So through that process of you going to school, which that in itself just is different, right? Like not even a plan to go into business, just I'm going to go to school to heal myself, to get the education, the knowledge, which is, you know, that's actually really admirable that you would do that.
Commit to yourself.
Like commit to yourself. But like, I think most people would try to rely on somebody else with the knowledge to do that for them, to heal them, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm taking ownership, which that's why it's admirable. You took ownership into your own hands. Like, I'm going to heal myself. I'm not going to rely on anybody else anymore. Probably because you lost trust for others, I would imagine, too.
I did, yeah. And but that being said, too, like, I did have, like, other people in my corner, you know. Like, I have worked with naturopath doctors in terms of, like, working on diet and stuff like that. And then an acupuncturist who I, like, love and admire so much. Her name's Colleen Smith. She lives Point of Origin Acupuncture. But she helped me a lot, too, like, just, you know, trying to get sounds like so woo-woo, but like your energy right, you know?
I want to try
Yeah.
acupuncture.
Oh, go to her. She's
Yeah?
great. Yeah.
What's her name again?
Colleen Smith.
Colleen
Yeah.
Smith, and her business was
Point of Origin Acupuncture.
Point of Origin. All right.
She's actually my sister's mother-in-law. But
Okay.
yeah, she's great, and she's helped me a lot, like get down the right path. Like I definitely like came to what I'm doing, I think, as well, which is also really cool. Like by going through different channels of like other women who, you know,
So yeah,
were
they
able
got you
to,
going
like,
down the path.
yeah,
right?
able to help
Yeah.
me. But then ultimately, like at the end of the day, it's not up to anybody else. It's up to you. And for me, it was like really up to me, and I just committed. Yeah.
So through the process of going to school, you end up finding out like, you know what? I think I will turn this into a business.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that story and how that kind of happened for you.
So I like, where do I want to start with this? So when I was going to school, I was also, where do I want to go with this?
Well, we were talking earlier off camera about you got this offer from
From John. Yeah.
John at a space, right?
Yeah. So John, who owns the salon that I work out of, so I rent a room inside of a salon called the Stefanos.
Stephanos.
So, yeah.
Where's that located at?
Francis on the north side.
Okay.
Yeah. So a friend of mine who works in that building reached out to me and was like, hey, you're in aesthetic school, right? And I was like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing. She's like, well, you should come look at our space. The person who's here is moving out. It'd be cool to work with you. And so I went in and I toured and I talked to John, and I was like, hey, like I don't graduate for another 3 months. I don't really even know like what exactly my direction is with this, but if this is still available when I graduate, like let's have a conversation. And he reached out to me later that day and was like, no, like I like your vibe. Like I really would love to have you here. Like we want an esthetician in building. Like we like you.
Yeah.
If you want to commit, like I'll hold the space for you for 3 months. So I had to get my license like right away. And that kind of like put the fire under my butt to be like, okay, like now I've got to get my license. I got to get insurance. I got to do all of the things, pass my state boards. And I think like when I have a goal, I just like hammer it. And so I found that. And at the same time, like I was bartending at night, and that would like give me the safe keep for my business. So I didn't have to like put the pressure on like, okay, this business is going to pay my bills. Like the bartending paid my bills. So when I was in school, I would go to school all day, 40 hours a week, and I would get off at 5, and I would go to work, and I would bartend till 10, midnight, and I would get up in the morning, and I'd go to the gym, and I'd go back to school. And then I would do that over and over again, 5 days a week. And then when I opened my business, I just transferred the grind. Like I was just like, okay, like I'm going to be at my business all day, meeting people, trying to market myself, like having people like realize what I do. And then at night I was bartending, which like the bartending itself helped me build my business too, because I had been at the bar I was working at for so long. The girls I was working with, the people I was seeing, my friends, my family, like everybody saw the transformation that I was doing. Like I was just like a walking billboard for myself essentially, because especially with acne, because it's so noticeable. People were realizing that I was actually healing myself and what I was doing. And then I got like the questions of like, well, I want that, you know, like I want to do that. And that helped me like draw people in. And then I did both bartending and my business, did aesthetics for like a year and a half before I finally like let go of bartending. And the way that I did that too, is I just like didn't pull a single cent from my business. Like I lived 100% off of bartending. Every single cent that I earned from Azurite went back into Azurite, stayed in my bank account, or like was put into education. So I was able to like do the expensive like you know, or go take the course, or travel here to like go learn this new thing, and then I would just reinvest back into my business and back into myself, and then bartend at night.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's very smart. It's a good hustle that you had.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
I like to like live 60-40, like 60% play, like 40% work. So that was like tough.
Yeah.
but it worked.
I think my
right?
ratio is about the same too.
Oh, dude, yeah. I don't live to work.
Yeah, I don't want to. Sometimes I have to, but yeah, I definitely find it more healthy when I'm about at a 60-40.
Yeah.
It's just how do you be effective in that 40% time frame, right?
And that's the hardest part. It's like trying to make the money to support yourself on 40%, which is not 40 hours a week.
No.
Like that's, but that's doable. I do it. You do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured out a way. I mean, and yeah, this is probably a whole different conversation, but ways to systematize your business on my side, which can increase revenue without increasing my time invested.
Totally.
With yours, probably can be done, but it would mean trusting bringing on other people, right?
Yeah,
Or something.
and I don't think that that's like ever a direction that my business is going to go in.
Yeah.
No, like I have goals for my business. Like I want to eventually have like a healing center. So somewhere that people go that like I'm an esthetician, and then there's a massage therapist, and then there's maybe like someone who does like energy work, and then there's someone, I mean maybe another esthetician or someone who holds yoga classes. But I want everybody there just for my own peace of mind. Like work for yourselves. Like we're here collectively to help people, but I don't want to be a boss. I don't want to be anybody's boss but my own. And I know that. I knew that like going into my business, like I think the best way for me to like maintain and make the money that I want to make with the stress level that I want to live at is not having employees, and I will never have employees.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I struggle with it though, because I'm like, for what I do, I'm like, I probably need to at some point, maybe at least just like an assistant or something, right?
Yeah.
But beyond that, I've found that I can probably contract out everything else I need done, really, and so I there is a big part of me that wants to maintain that freedom, mobility, and not having responsibility to 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, that I got to make sure they're eating and their families are okay. And it's a lot to have employees. At least that's the way I look at it. Maybe not all employers look at it that way, but I think the good ones obviously do. It's a major responsibility. So
your people's livelihood,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not, like I said, not the direction that I'm ever going to take what I do. I just don't think it would serve me well at all.
And that's beautiful to know. And that's something that I found with myself in business. It's like, I don't want to do things because that's the way I'm told I should do it, or that's the way I am told that that's the best way to grow a business. Like there's a lot of different ways to do business nowadays.
Oh, 100%.
And so you can really kind of do it your own way almost. Like obviously there's certain methods, blueprints that are good to adhere to, but I really find that like the creativity behind business is way broader than it's ever been. Like you can find ways to make money so many different ways now. Like you almost do anything you want to and figure a way out how to make money doing it. So
the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
That's always been like my goal.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
And that's not exactly what I do. Like I feel like in terms of like most amount of money, shortest amount of time, like I feel like I'm a very like reasonable priced esthetician. Like if you look in the area of like the realm that I work in, I really am on like the lower end. But that's because like you kind of have to like gear yourself towards like your dream clientele. That's like an Annalisa Martin thing, right? Like she always talks about like her dream clientele, this and that. And like her dream clientele is her dream clientele, and like my dream clientele is, they're like different spectrums. Like I think she is a business mogul. Like she is cool.
She's a boss lady.
Yeah. And like for me, like I need to make money, and I want to make money, and I am making money, but I want to help the people that like I want to help, which is like the teenagers, which they can't come in and their parents can't shove out, $300 worth of skincare products and a $200 facial every 2 weeks. Like it just doesn't, I mean, you wouldn't have to do skincare that often, but it just doesn't work for like what I want to do. And obviously like nobody works for free. Like we work so that we can provide for our families or like ourselves, or, like that's why we have jobs. But deeper than that, like I work for like to fill my soul a little bit. And like, that's like my nugget is like this group of people. And that's where I want to be. So it's a less profitable group of people, but it's the group of people I want to be helping. So yeah.
Well, and you're letting your purpose take more of the high seat than making money.
Totally.
And it's not about not making money, but
No,
it's
I
also
am, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But it's also about like, I want to be more helpful to these individuals in that middle ground to where I'm helping them heal, but I'm also meeting my own needs. I think, do you feel like when you're at work, like when you're with clients, maybe, I'm sure there's other aspects of running a business that you don't maybe enjoy, right? But
Oh, yeah.
but the part that when you're with clients, does that feel like work, or does that feel
No.
like that feels
Yeah.
like you're in your zone of genius, you're in your what you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah, where I want to be.
Right.
I think like one of the biggest like mind sweats or set switches for me when I like first started doing aesthetics was that like I referred to like, and I didn't even do this on purpose. So I guess it was really a mindset switch, but like I would refer to work when I was bartending, I was going to work. And when I was like going to the salon, I was going to the salon. And it wasn't like I didn't feel like I was going to work. Like it was like where I wanted to be. It was what I wanted to do. Like I would just go and sit in there and hang out. Like even if I didn't have a client, like I just was like, that's where I want to be. So, no, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like it pays me in a lot of ways, you know, more than just like money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not almost like it's even a job sometimes.
No.
Like I said, there's like what I was, talking about is like, there's things that we all have to do in running a business that are not what we want to do. That's what we have to do to do what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
That's like how it operates. And like, it's hard to accept that at times, especially if you're a person that wants to enjoy life outside of the business. Like I know some individuals, like it doesn't matter what part of the business it is. It's like, we're doing that shit no matter what. It's all the time, 24/7. I'm not like that.
No, I turn
want to
off for
kick
sure.
it. I want to turn off. I want to chill. And then there's parts of running businesses that are like a real trudge. Like it's not enjoyable. But then you get to do the things you want to do, and it reminds you like that's all worth it because I get to do this for a living.
Yeah.
So.
And I think too, like one of the ways that I've like simplified like that portion of business, the portion of business that sucks, is trying to like identify the energy suckers in my business. Like what am I spending energy on that I don't want to be spending energy on, and how can I make that simpler? Like all of my products, all of my utensils, everything that I use are like on auto delivery. Like I don't have to order. Like I just can like, I know that they're coming. I know that they're coming when they're coming. Yeah. And then like first thing when I wake up in the morning, like this I do struggle with is like the whole phone thing, because I feel like I'm like always trying to stay off my phone, but having to be on my phone for business. And like my husband will be like, hey, 15 minutes a day, like you need to return all your texts or calls to clients. Like I'll call before I'll text because then they reply. And then I'm on the phone for 45 minutes going back and forth. So it's like just first thing in the morning, like knocking out like the energy suckers for the day. Like what if I don't do right now, am I going to think about all day that I need to get done? And getting those things done first thing in the morning, and then going into the salon and starting my day. And then I get done and I'll do like the extra things. Like if I need to put in like a drop ship order to a client or something, like that's a little different. And then I can go to bed every night and not have like those energy suckers like sitting on my soul. Like this is the part of business that I hate. Like just get the part of business that you hate out of the way.
What are some of those things for you?
The energy suckers?
Yeah, like what are some of the things every morning that you feel you have to knock out?
Anything that I need to order, like for dropship orders for clients. So I would say I put out, I don't even know, orders every day. Like people are texting me being like, hey, I need to order this, this, and this. Because while I run like a portion of my business where people come and see me, I also have a virtual clientele. So like I see people all over that I see virtually. So then, I have to respond to them. I have to set up a Zoom with them. I have to talk to them and then get their skincare out to them. But yeah, mainly just that kind of stuff, like the office
ordering
work.
stuff.
Yeah. And then but then that also like leads into my life, like what are the energy suckers for my life? Like when I wake up in the morning, within the first 90 minutes, like my workout's done. My orders are ordered. Like all of the productivity, like the things that I need to be a productive human are done. And then I can go on to like doing the things that I want to do.
So yeah, what does your morning routine look like? You said 90 minutes you've finished your workout?
Usually between
So
like, or at least started
up,
it. Yeah.
Work out, clear out that stuff. Is there anything else in your morning routine that you...
Yeah, so it looks a little different like post baby because now he's like coming along with me to all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I wake up in the morning, water is like the first thing that I consume. I don't drink cold water either, but that's like a whole
I've started hearing about this now.
Yeah, and then I eat. So I think it's really important to like, especially if you're a woman, like I don't believe personally in intermittent fasting. I believe in like keeping your blood sugar stabilized all day. So instead of like throwing like, I heard this on a podcast recently, like throwing a huge log on the fire, like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or like kindling the log all day, keeping your energy flowing, keeping your blood sugar going and that kind of stuff. And that actually is there's an acne component to that. If you have unstable blood sugar, you can break out. You probably will break out. So that's like where I got that originally. But so yeah, wake up in the morning, drink water, eat food. I drink coffee, but I don't consume caffeine. So that's like something that I do too. I drink decaf coffee. Yeah. But just for like the nostalgic, like I just love.
I love the taste
the hot
of it,
thing in the morning. Yeah. And then before baby, I would go straight to the gym. So I was usually at the gym by like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I took gym classes. Now I have a Peloton and a weight set at my house, and me and my baby hang out, and I do my workout.
Nice.
Yeah, and I do. After my workout, I'll shower. Then I do all of my like things I need to get done. And then take my baby to my mom's house if he needs to go to daycare, and I go to the salon if I need to go to the salon. But that's like a typical morning. Like it's nothing like super crazy.
No, it's good to know. Like,
Yeah.
what time do you typically wake up at? Do you have a certain set time?
Not anymore because my salon day starts at different times every day. So so like my hierarchy of needs and like the way that I'm going to like be a good person is like sleep.
Yeah.
So if I need to sleep in because that little guy slept like shit and I slept like shit, like I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
And then my workout and then the rest, So, but those are things that I get done every single day. So I always like prioritize sleep number one. So there's not like a set time that I wake up.
I'm the same way.
I'm not the 5 a.m. club. I'm never going to be the 5 a.m. club.
I tried it.
No.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I need my sleep.
Yeah. Before, when I had a ton of control over my life, before I had a baby, I was in bed at a certain time. I was super rigid. I was like up, out of the house 6:30, at the gym 7, the workout done before 8, all that kind of stuff, right? But now it's kind of, we're a little slower. We move a lot slower, and it works. It was more effective for us. Yeah.
I found for myself too, like I was, trying to be rigid on sleep and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm single, I'm living my life, doing my thing. So I'm like, also like I got into business so I could do what I want, like in some aspects. Right. Yeah. And so when it comes to sleep and like, getting up, I'm like, bro, I've carved out a life where I can sleep how I want to, when I want to. Yeah. As long as I get up and handle business, it doesn't really matter when that is, because I don't really have, in my situation with my clients, like they're cool with me getting back to them within the day. Yeah. I don't have emergency phone calls or anything like that typically. So it's nice to be able to have that freedom with my clients. Yeah. And then also just have that freedom in my life to where, I can, if I need to sleep in, I can sleep in. Most days can allow for that. Or just making sure I get adequate sleep, because I need about 10 hours of sleep every night. That's me, how much I need. Okay, so,
I was 8 to 10. Yeah. Like that's where I usually land. And women land longer. So like guys can usually, get 6, 7, 8. Women need that 8 to 10 hours. And that's like scientifically proven. But we're all of the studies that were like, the intermittent fasting studies, the wake up at this time studies, like most of those studies are done on men. And then they're like pushed onto us like we're the same. And we're not the same. No. Yeah. So I think that like in general, like we live and should live slower as women to like effectively nourish our bodies. But yeah, sleep, food,
Yeah.
food and water. Get a gallon of water a day. Eat a bunch of good food. Love on the people I love. Yeah, I don't know.
So what's the whole thing with not drinking cold water? It causes inflammation or something?
Yeah,
like
and I think it slows
about this.
your digestion.
Okay.
Yeah, so our blood is supposed to run like warmer, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're eating like drinking cold water, eating cold foods, you slow the digestion.
I wonder though if it differs for different people, right?
Oh,
Because
sure.
like I'm an Aries. I'm like a fire sign. I'm always hot, and like I need to cool myself down because if I get hot, I get irritable. I get angry. I get like so. I'm like always having to like I need to be cooled down. You know, like when I sleep in my room, I try to have it as cold almost as possible.
Yeah.
Like and the blankets will keep me warm, but if I need to cool off, then it's cold. You know, I need to be cold. So I'm like, I started hearing about this thing with the, warm water is better for you to drink. It doesn't cause as much like inflammation or like bloating in the stomach. I guess cold water can do that. And I'm like, I tried it and I was like, I hate it for me, because like I'm not getting the cooling effect that I'm used to keep myself regulated down. So
I think everything's person to person.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Totally.
That's
like
what
we're
I
just
think.
not, our DNAs are not the same.
Right.
So, and that's the same thing with diet. Like I hear all the time, like this is an acne trigger, this is an acne trigger, this is, and like while those are good things to look at, like those are like a good blueprint, like I can eat dairy. Like dairy doesn't affect me. It doesn't give me acne. Like right now I'm dairy free because my baby needs me to be dairy free.
Yeah.
But like that's something that I can eat. But like gluten gives me acne.
Yeah.
So it's identifying the things that work for your body and work with your body. And that takes commitment and time and diet switches and changes and, Whole30s or whatever you want to do to effectively get to that place. But then once you figure out what works for you, like that's what works,
Yeah.
So sticking to that. But, and that's like one of the funnest parts about what I do too, is because everybody's different. And so it's not like, here's the rules, follow them.
Yeah.
Will clear your skin. It's like working with these individual people and like having to like do the things to try to figure out what is irritating this person, what is causing this. Like it could be, like I said, the food that they're eating, the products that they're using, the fact that their toxin overload is super high, the fact that they lived in mold and they knew that and they moved out of that house, but they never detoxed from it. The fact that they have a shitty boyfriend. Yeah. And then they break up with him and their acne's gone. And it's like, it was throw the whole man out. It was the man, like that 100% that happens.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stress and toxicity and relationships.
They're so important. And that's like the whole thing. Like when I was talking about before, it's like something I truly live by. It's like you are what you eat, but like not just the food. Like what are you consuming? What are you bringing into your life? What's the energy you're calling back to yourself? What are you reading? What are you seeking? Like
it's got me thinking.
Yeah.
Mainly because, as you know, you've been very close with me. I didn't drink for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've been drinking again.
Yeah.
And I think it's been really great in a lot of ways for me.
Yeah.
But of course it does bring a certain element, kind of like what you were talking about, where it's like, is it pulling me further away from who I really truly want to be? And I don't know. I don't know right now.
Yeah, there's a balance with that too. I mean, that's the same thing with me. Like alcohol has proven not to like be my closest friend, but like I'm not sober. Like I live soberly. Like I drink on both hands in a whole year, Yeah. But and I don't at this point in time. I don't get drunk. I keep myself away from that. But then there's like a time and a place for it. Like I saw you at Tyler Childers. Like I gave you a hug and we both had beers in our hands.
Yeah.
Like that's like, that was the time and the place. Mm-hmm. And like, you invite me to a bachelorette party, like I'm on the table with you if you want to get drunk and dance on the table.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to I'm not going to get to the point where I used to let myself get and where you probably used to let yourself get, where like you wake up the next day and that's like not in alignment with who you are.
I've had a few probably days where I woke up just not feeling great. I didn't do anything the night before that I regretted. But just not, like
guilt.
when no guilt, no
Okay.
guilt either. Just, just sensitive to how the alcohol affects my body, like how my body feels, like how it weakens my body.
Yeah.
You know, especially like if you train hard and work hard at the gym, one night of drinking, you wake up and you feeling depleted
100%.
in your strength. Like it's not a good feeling. And then, you know, going for as long as I had with not having that hungover
Yeah.
experience, it's like I don't like that.
Not
And
into
so
it.
like
Yeah.
I've been very good at, you know, now that when I'm drinking, I'm gauging where I'm at. Like I can feel when I'm starting to get too far. Not saying I haven't gone too far, because I'm a kind of guy that teeters that line. You know what I mean? You know me.
I do.
You know how I am.
I knew pre-Bobby. I knew
yeah.
sober Bobby.
So
This version,
it's
yeah.
but I'm much more older, mature, and
Totally.
the people I drink with are the same way too. Now,
Well, and you have a
know,
completely
so,
different mindset, I think,
Yeah.
than when you were consuming alcohol the way that you were consuming before.
Totally.
And that mindset
Yeah.
going into drinking, that mindset going into any conscious substance that like scatters your, or what's the word I'm looking for, like changes your perception of reality, changes like your conscious, like any substance, if you have the mentality going into it, that matters, you know, like I'm still who myself, like I'm proud of who I am, those kinds of things versus like going into it like, what are you drinking for? Like, are you drinking so you have a personality? Or are you drinking because you want to have a couple drinks and you're letting loose, you know?
Yeah. I think for me, one of the biggest things is like finding that I overthink a lot, you know, on
Yeah.
things. And so like having a drink is just like allows that pressure to subside a bit. And I can find that in other ways, like going to the gym or meditation,
Totally.
which I
Yeah.
do those as well.
Totally.
But I think one of the bigger aspects for me was like just the lack of socialization that I had for some time. And like having a casual drink with a friend is a way to like meet up and just hang out
Isn't
and
that
have a
wild?
conversation.
I feel like the same, like when I quit drinking the way that I was drinking, like my friend group was like,
Yeah.
I was like, where did all my friends go?
And
you know?
and I don't know if that's even like necessarily true. It's just I think you have to be more intentional about meeting up with people when you don't drink than when
Totally.
if
And
you
then
do
like
drink,
in
people are like,
yeah.
it's easy to be like, oh, we're having a drink here, come join us, like
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Weirdly enough, I think there has been some health benefits for me and like
Yeah.
my mind, but I know that's a fine line and like it needs to be respected. And you know, approaching drinking this time, I have a very, very healthy fear of it. So I think that's helped me stay in a good balance with it. But
With that though, just to touch on alcohol, like in terms of like on an acne perspective.
go in. Yeah.
Alcohol is something that I tried to like, for one, for your mentality, all those things. But from an acne perspective, it throws your body out of the good blood sugar ranges. So you're like your blood sugar is actually affected up to like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And that's like not getting blackout drunk. Like that's like casually drinking.
Right.
So people who are like, well, I only drink on the weekends. It's like, okay, so you drink Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You're still out of alignment. You still have those blood sugar effects from it. Your metabolism's down. You're not processing things effectively. Your body's still trying to get those toxins like correct, right? Then you come back.
And
Thursday,
then
you're like back.
About good, and then you start
Friday,
over again.
yeah. And then that just like plummets any kind of progress that you're trying to make in terms of overall health. That being said, like I said, I'm not like, don't drink, I drink, you drink, like, you know.
Yeah.
But
I think it's
awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah.
And I've noticed a lot of different things that I just decide I'm going to deal with because I'm drinking, and I'm not very sensitive to them like I used to be, but I notice it. I notice how there's just certain different energy shifts with me when I'm drinking, when I'm not. Like in the times that I do go into a zone of like not drinking for a week, it's like I start to feel that more pure energy again, I guess is a way to say it. And that could be the blood sugar levels that I'm experiencing or something. But
on a spiritual level too, I know that, I feel like you're the one who told me this, but that alcohol means something, right? Like it's like a...
Yeah, alcohol is, forget which language it's from, but it's basically, the root word means demon. basically.
Yeah.
I can't. It's been a while since I like got into that. My brother knows it too, but basically, you know, spirits, we call alcohol spirits.
You're
You know,
probably
for a
opening
reason,
yourself
you're opening yourself up
more
to
susceptible to that darker energy.
Yeah, darker energy. It could be
Yeah.
good energy too. Like, you know
Yeah.
how some people get drunk, they're super happy and like,
Yeah.
but basically there's the concept from ancient times that alcohol allows spirits to inhibit you. And that could be a good spirit and that could be a bad spirit. And so,
It's like the whole, like, I wasn't myself last night kind of.
well, and then,
Maybe a little bit.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. Like exactly that.
Yeah.
And there's the other aspect too, like what is alcohol used for? It's used to separate, like if you're going to use it, one, to disinfect, right, to sterilize,
Yeah.
which could be seen as like sterilizing your spirit, your soul, like diminishing it basically. And then there's the other aspect of alcohol is used to separate things. So it could be to separate something from a surface. You would use alcohol. You can use it
Okay.
in like liquids to create a separation barrier where if the alcohol gets between those two liquids, it would separate them.
Yeah.
So it's looked at too that alcohol separates you from your spirit. So
I feel like that's, yeah.
you know,
I
there's,
can relate to that
yeah.
in certain ways. Yeah. And then it's too, like we were talking about before, like, why are you drinking? Like, I don't love, like, in our society that it's like, okay, you had a good day, you had a bad day, you're celebrating, it's a birthday, you're sad, you're happy. Like, everything can be like, well, like, let's get a drink, you know? Like, it's like just having, like, the mindfulness of, like, why I'm drinking, you know? And, you're celebrating something and you want to have a couple drinks, like, that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, for me, if I'm ever sad or I'm stressed, like, I don't go to alcohol. Because then why I'm drinking isn't...
It's compounding it, right?
Yeah, it's not helping the situation.
No.
Yeah, like, it's
Yeah.
just used for celebration for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I'm using it pretty much close to that too, just to enjoy being out and hanging out.
Yeah.
I just want to hang out,
Yeah.
right? Because I devoided myself of that for so long, really. So it's really nice to be able to go out and socialize. The other thing is like I really do love whiskey. I love a good glass of whiskey on the rocks, and you know, I just sip it. It's a drink. It's not like back in the day where we just getting bottles and doing shots and shotgunning beers and like all that craziness. You know, it's like I go out, have dinner, have a glass of whiskey, and something that I've learned too is like really understanding what kind of alcohol I want to consume versus not.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's certain alcohol, certain beer, whatever, that doesn't mix with me well. And I used to drink it just because that's what we're drinking or like whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's alcohol, right? Like, no, it does matter. Like with your DNA, like all that kind of stuff, like whiskey runs through my family lineage. So it's like why when I mix with it, it feels clean. It feels good. Now I got to respect it.
That's
you know?
funny. Yeah, I'm Irish too, and whiskey does me dirty.
Really?
Oh,
well,
dirty.
Maybe it's what do you like, gin, or what is your
I don't
like
even
preferred
wine? Nah, I would say I'm a wine girl, but I don't even know anything about it. Like I just know if I get a glass of wine and I like it and I don't like it. Yeah.
Right. But anyway,
Okay.
And on the health aspect of like skincare and everything, I feel that, you know, it's full spectrum, like you said. Like alcohol is going to affect your health, your skincare. So obviously it's dehydrating, one. So that in itself is not going to be great for your skin. So
in moderation, everything in moderation, like the 80-20.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at times you need to be more than that, and at times you need to be less than that. You know, like when I was doing my healing journey, I was like 95-5, you know, like 95% of the time I was like on it.
Yeah.
5% of the time I wasn't. And like now it's like 80-20.
80-20, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I got just two more. We'll just ask one more question. What are your favorite books?
Oh.
What are some of your top?
My
top recommendations.
Okay, I honestly, like, not even gonna lie, I haven't read a book in a while. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Okay, yeah. Podcasts work too.
Okay, so Healthier Together.
Okay.
Liz Moody, that's a great one. That's kind of like what I listen to the most. If I'm gonna read, I honestly, like, don't do a lot of self-help books. Mm-hmm. Like, I can listen to them, and, like, I'll, like, be in the car and listen to them. But if I'm gonna, like, sit at home and read a book, like, it's gonna be like, my all-time favorite book is Recursion, which is like a sci-fi alternate reality
Hell yeah
timeline book.
Love it.
Read it, so good.
I love those type of books.
Yeah.
I haven't read one in a while, but I've been wanting to. What's it called again?
Recursion.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. It's really really good. But yeah, I mean, all, like, the basics of, like, the self-help books, you know, like, I've read Four Agreements. I've read, what was the book that you recommended to me?
Mastery of Love.
Yep. And I read that one. But yeah, it's been a while since I've read
That's by Don Miguel Ruiz. Four Agreements and Mastery of Love.
Yeah.
So those are some really good ones.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have anything else you want to shout out, share before we close it up?
No, I think I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Mel, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you.
All right. That chapter was with Melissa McQueen, Melly Mel. She has Azurite Aesthetics. We'll put all her information in the show notes. Shout out Spokecast for sponsoring and producing my show. I'm your host, Bobby J. Till next time.